Greetings, magical mavens. Do you ever feel like you don't have enough time for your daily witchcraft or spiritual practice? Well, what if I told you that your 5-minute morning cup of tea ritual can double as a daily success spell? I invite you to take a little leaf out of the kitchen witch grimoire and put a little magic into everything that you do. Powerful magic need not be a big fancy production every time. Just by knowing your intentions and the magical uses of a few kitchen herbs, you can boost your manifestations so that you're feeling successful more consistently. Being an entrepreneur and running my own business from home, when I first got started, it was easy to get distracted. I'm my own boss, so I don't have anybody there to slap me on the wrist for dilly-dallying on Pinterest or just jumping from project to project when I really should be focused on my most important task of the day, which is usually fulfilling shop orders for the Writing Witch shop or creating content for you guys and my patrons over on Patreon. And a lot of the time I'm creating content that needs to come out on a seasonal schedule, so staying on the ball is an absolute must. And this month, my patrons are getting an adorable set of printable pages that I've designed so that you can write down your favorite coffee ritual or spell or recipe for your Book of Shadows. I haven't always been a huge coffee drinker. In fact, I actually prefer a weak coffee or a tea in the morning usually, and I don't think it's really the caffeine that wakes me up per se. I think for me, it's more the psychological aspect of infusing hot water with herbs and intention to start my morning off right. And what better way to do that than to turn your morning drink into an actual mini ritual? Depending on what your main focus is for the day ahead, you can simply set intentions for yourself while stirring your cup, or you can get a little extra witchy by selecting drink ingredients that actually correspond with your goal. For this simple morning coffee ritual spell, you will need your choice of coffee grounds or a tea bag if you prefer tea over coffee, as well as any of the following: allspice for energy, determination, money, and luck; nutmeg for luck, money, and clarity; cinnamon for money and happiness; cloves for money, luck, and connections. Are you noticing a pattern here? This is a really good one if you happen to be a biz witch, but we can all use money or luck, so this can really work for anybody. And of course, for a simple way to go about it, you can always just use pumpkin pie spice because this contains all of the above spices. All of these spices are typically associated with things like the fire element and masculine energy, which is the energy of action and determination. And adding these spices to my morning brew is especially helpful because I naturally have a lot of that creative, spiritual, feminine energy, which is great for getting inspired and making things beautiful and magical. But it can also be tricky to balance when it's time to get specific things done. It's important to remember that your connotations about certain herbs, as well as your flavor palette, may be different from mine. So feel free to add or omit ingredients based on what works for you intuitively. Really, all you need to do is select your herbs and grind them up with a mortar and pestle, or a bowl in the bottom of a mug if you don't happen to have that tool in your collection. While crushing your herbs, try to grind them in a clockwise motion, which promotes forward-moving energy. Relax into this task and keep your mind focused on your goals and intentions for the day ahead. I've also tried putting them in the blender, and just be warned, if you have one of those little bullet blenders that's made out of plastic, I don't recommend putting herbs in there because it can kind of damage the plastic and leave sort of a brown tinge to the plastic that never goes away. But if you have a glass blender, or if you are a badass kitchen witch and you have a blender specifically used just for herbs, then have at it. And another little witchy tip, if you're not grinding herbs, your herbs are already ground and you're just mixing them together, you can just gently stir them while you're doing your little meditation. Or if you're just using pumpkin pie spice, you can actually just shake the container in a clockwise motion while saying your intention. If you decide to do this daily or weekly, in the case of making a batch of herbs ahead for the week, you can even find yourself coming up with an incantation to say over your herbs every time. This practice helps you to shift your mindset into the mode of productivity. I like to use a little saying that goes, "Blessed be the garden, blessed be the home, blessed be our hearts and minds wherever they may roam." That's kind of my go-to spell for absolutely any time that I'm working with herbs or water or any programmable substances. But for a spell like this one, sometimes I might go with something that's a little bit more specific to an intention. For example, may all our health and wealth increase. May all our loved ones live in peace. But I have quite a few different ones, so I invite you to use any of my favorite blessing incantations for your morning coffee ritual if you'd like. So I've included a link below where you can print these Grimoire pages, and as you can see, I actually keep one of these on my refrigerator, so they can go in your book of shadows, or you can frame them or simply hang them up with tape on a wall. And my patrons over on Patreon are receiving this printable this month, so I also invite you to come along and join us over there. Now all that's left to do is just brew it up. These herbs are strong, so you really only need a pinch. If you made a lot of mixture, just toss it into a jar to use each morning for your coffee ritual. If you have a busy schedule, you'll probably want to make this ahead and store it. Rather than going through the whole grinding ritual every morning, I like to shake my jar of pre-ground herbs while repeating the mantra before scooping some out to brew my drink. Either sprinkle a bit of the mixture into your coffee filter with your coffee grounds, or carefully tear a hole in your tea bag, add it in, and then tie it back using the string of the tea bag. Just add hot water, stay focused on your intentions as you sip your drink, and enjoy the rest of your day in alignment with your intentions. So, do you have any quick, simple morning rituals like this? Or do you have a longer, more in-depth witchy routine? For me, making my morning beverage is usually just part of a much longer ritual, which can consist of anything from connecting with the elements and archetypes at my altar, doing some divination, meditating, EFT tapping, or even studying the magical arts. If you're ready for a fresh start in your morning or night routines, then I invite you to check out this playlist right here, where you get to see some of my morning and night routines over the course of my practice. Thank you so much for being your magical self, and until next time, blessed be.